Hey guys. Oh, nice. All right, so this is going to be a bit of a test run. Um, I got a lot to do, but there's a lot of things that I need to get, properly functioning for the live stream. So as things go along throughout the week, I'll start to get things more finely tuned, just right. Those of you on Instagram, can you hear me all right? I'm not sure. I'm multi-streaming right now, so I'm trying to see how well this can work. Those of you on Twitch or on YouTube, also let me know. It's probably just like 3 people, but any assistance can help. Nice. Hey, Junie. All right, some of this stuff is also in, I think, beta mode as far as multi-streaming, so it may or may not crash on me at some point. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed. How's it going, everybody? I hope you're doing well. So I made the announcement earlier yesterday that I'll be at SuperCon, which I'm super excited about. I really wanted to be a part of this show. So for one thing, so I'm trying to have a different thing recording. For one thing, I've done plenty of art shows in the past, different galleries, different exhibits, and SuperCon is just a different type of vibe altogether. First off, for those of you that have ever been before, this is more like franchises, for animes, for films, for TV shows. It definitely connects a whole lot more with my fun, nerdier side, that nostalgic childhood, and of course, a lot of the great, things that I see still on streaming networks that continue to inspire myself along with many other people. So I'm super excited to be a part of the Artist Alley there. It's definitely humbling with all the other major artists that are going to be there, both in the exhibition area, as well as, of course, within the Artist Alley beside me, and all the different, talks they're going to be having and so on. So, super cool. However, in preparation for SuperCon, there is so much that I have to do and want to do. I'll be selling my usual prints. I haven't been able to make as many artworks as I've wanted to, so maybe from now till then, I'll be able to finish off a couple more to include in there. And in addition, probably what I'm going to be working on more so this week, probably the following as well, is I want to make my own figurines. So I'm sure you've all seen plenty of very cool ones that you can kind of keep on your desks, your shelves. You can kind of hide all throughout your office space, your living rooms, your bedroom, etc. I want to make some little figurines, very simple ones that kind of connect with the themes of my artworks, that can hopefully, be cool for people to want to collect. I don't want to make a ridiculous amount for just people to hoard, but just enough that maybe you can have one with you to hopefully be inspiring in some way. I do want to have some symbolism connected to those figurines, but you'll see as we go along. In general, thank you for joining me on these different streams. This is the first of many for the span of this month and probably well beyond that. I do have additional good news that are going to be coming in later on in the year. But for right now, SuperCon, that is the main goal that I'm focused on. And you, just by being here with me right now, is already supporting, helping to motivate me. Because as any artist or any person knows, you can self-motivate as much as you want to, and it'll get you far. But it doesn't hurt if you get some, external support. So, thank you already. I appreciate you. Zenik, yeah, hey, how's it going? by any means, it becomes a little tricky for me to determine who's who based on nicknames, so I'll just be referring to you as Zenik the Fartin. Hello. Great name. For those of you that are joining the stream, I am multi-streaming on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, So I'm going to be responding to things for people that are hopping in all sorts of different avenues. I would prefer you join in on the wider stream content like YouTube and Twitch, because just visually I'm a bit more set up for that. IG can be a little bit more restricting since it's vertical. However, that being said, I will try to stream on IG whenever I can. Just, again, not ideal for my current templates. That being said, little by little, I'll be tweaking myself to work just a little bit more for everybody. So, just to confirm, everything sounds good. Hear me all right. I'm not just mouthing off into the void. All right, I'm glad to see people in the chat. That's great. All right, so back to my main goal at hand. I want to make some figurines. So I've been sketching out some designs. Thank you, Ford. I've been sketching out some designs on my iPad for some time now. I feel like I have a general gist as to what I want to do. In fact, I'm continuing off of some designs I had done in the past. I originally wanted to do my own chessboard a couple years back. I'm still going to follow through with that. However, the logistics were pretty tough. To be able to make it at a large scale, it got me understanding why so many people do Kickstarters. I'm not ready for Kickstarters. I don't have enough of a following for that, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Yeah, thank you for the follow, Jammed Out. Appreciate that. So instead, I'm going to take that concept of the chessboard, put a pin on it, but the designs, I think, connect really well with the general themes that I have within my art style and like the purpose and connections, symbolism, etc. So I'm going to keep that going. For those of you that are unaware, let me see if I can open it up on my website real quick. Am I even set up to show my screen? Probably not on IG. So it's going to be a little bit trickier. Zenik, thanks for the subscription. Appreciate that. Those of you that have Amazon Prime, just know that you do have a free subscription option if you want to. Zach, there you go. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well now post schooling. Well, that phase at least. All right, let me see if I can hop into... Okay, I think I have it for Chrome. Yeah, so infinitemoons.com, that is my website. That's what I'm going to be referencing to at the moment. See if it shows. Now I got to relink it. Un momentico. All right, perfect. So previously, by the way, anytime you could visit this site, I don't update it as much as I want to. I can. I will be tweaking it a little bit more, but essentially this is my main hub for all the stuff that I do. My fine arts, which is what I'll be showcasing at Artist Alley, along with a bit more of my stylized stuff. My music, which I haven't released much in a while, but I have so much pending that I'm eager to release. It's just, you know, trying to find the right moment. I do have a good project happening later in November that I think will align with some great songs that I want to release. So if not then, probably sooner, I'll drop something just for fun. If not, you can check out some of the older tracks. Something to enjoy. But this is what I was referencing, the Cosmic Chess. These little tiny figures. I had to chat real quick. We are doing well. That's great to hear. I hope you guys are hanging out a lot. Don't forget to spend time together. Cherish these relationships. Don't let that drift happen. Or if it does, reconnect whenever possible. So here in the Cosmic Chess, again, those of you in IG, my apologies. You won't be able to see it on the stream. But if you just visit the website, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I have these little figures. They look a little bit on the kind of cute side. I kind of like that. Some are very hard edge. Some are more minimal. But this type of visual cue, that minimalist design of opposing sort of figures, kind of yin and yang-ish. I'm going to be using that as part of my, I guess, aesthetic for these figurines. Again, those of you on IG, and just check the website. You'll know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll see if I can get the setup working a little bit better so you can see that visual. If not, join me on YouTube or Twitch to make it a little bit easier. I was in your house? Was I? Oh. No. All right, so that's the general approach to things. Hopefully, it'll be successful. I will be using resin, or my plan is to 3D model it, 3D print it in resins, do some, light sanding, touch-ups, airbrush, pretty much along those lines, and hopefully I can keep the quality up high enough that it'll look good for people to enjoy. So the goal is to do the figurines, and within the span of this next month, before SuperCon comes on through, before that Artist Alley moment, I also plan on trying to finish off maybe 1 or 2 artworks that are more fine art style. Then after past SuperCon, I have other plans, but we'll get to that. One step at a time. So to get to my sketches, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over to my iPad setup. Checking the chat's going to be a little bit trickier for me at the moment, so I'll try to glance over when I can. So give me 1 second. All right, those of you that are on IG, I'll try to get the framing just right for you. Again, take note that since you guys are vertical, it limits a whole lot of what I can show. So ideally, hop on over to YouTube or Twitch. Infinite Moons Arts for YouTube, Aldo Infinite Moons for Twitch. And you can see like a better kind of layout or template for all this. So with these figurines in mind, again, I want to go a little bit on the simple side, minimalist, but still connected with my visuals, motifs of space, suns, black holes, space, etc. I find it fascinating. So I've made some designs so far, and I'm actually going to need your assistance with choosing which ones I think would be best for me to follow through with in 3D modeling. Because if the design isn't quite hitting, if it's not quite, working for you, I'll have to scrap it or maybe tweak it a little bit further in the future. Now, this whole little response back and forth would be a little tricky as I check on over to the chat, but let me just go one at a time. Now, one of my goals is for each figurine to have a kind of opposite resembling kind of design. So we have one that's more sun inspired. Okay, look at him, very cute. Kind of just want to tickle his belly. We have these little spiked, kind of typical sun ray design or shape along the outside. Then a similar body type, but more of a black hole reverse. Not entirely happy with this little cutout around it, but it's supposed to be kind of like the warping and bending that you would see around a black hole. I'll tweak that a little bit, but I do want to play on the positive space and negative space. A lot of removals, like punctures through the opposite designs. So, those of you in the chat, if you can give me a quick little rating, should we go 1 to 5? 1 to 5 stars. What are you feeling for this design? Is it worthwhile? Should it be pursued for a 3D model, or is it whatever? I'll step to the side and take a look. Okay, a lot of people liking this one. That's good. All right, appreciate that. That's awesome. Good to know. I do not have names for them. It would be helpful down the road. Those of you in the chat can come up with some, but not just yet. I don't want to commit to a name till the very end, till I have it fully 3D modeled and I'm ready to essentially go off for print. But if you get some in your head, you know, keep it in mind. Thank you, Jammed Out, for the subscription. I appreciate you. You're a true subscriber. Hey, Jared. All right, so anyone that's opposed to this one, again, you will not hurt my feelings. You can say, and it's all right. Maybe we'll get a little bit more context as I move through the others. So far, I think we're getting like a nice yes. Maybe I'll make it a little lukewarm. It's cute. I want to keep the cute look. I think it makes it more playful. One thing that I've noticed with my art is sometimes it feels a little too serious. And I love deep conversations. I love, you know, anything that goes beyond, you know, the shallow. However, it's nice to have something a bit playful. In fact, the music side of stuff that I do kind of lends itself to that every once in a while too. Not everything in life should be so serious. There's plenty to be serious about. So I want this to be very fun and playful. So how do we feel about this one? This one I got a little bit more abstract with it. We have like this piece that's kind of jetting outwards. We still have like the branching. So similar to that of a star, but definitely now I'm making it feel a bit more fluid. Again, you notice between the two, I tend to have more rounded shapes on these, even though we have these spiky stars. In fact, I might even round these edges out a little bit more. Then with these, I try to create more rigid, again, more contrast, soft, round, sharp angles. How you all feeling about this one? He looks like he doesn't have a thought in the world. Yeah, a little absent-minded. Now, are you perceiving this as a negative thing? Like literally, like a bad thing by seeing those negative cutouts? The next could be fragile. I do agree. The next could be fragile. So one thing is, if we were to be looking at this from the side view, I need to make sure that the necks aren't super thin, but maybe have a bit of a thickness when it joins into the body itself. This will create like a bit more stability. In fact, I could even push it even further over to the body. This, however, I'm imagining this area. Those are the problems that I'll essentially have to try to solve when I'm in the 3D modeling phase. But yeah, that's something really important to keep in mind. In fact, there's going to be a lot of variables with each of these designs that I'm going to be coming across. Some that are going to mess me up and probably set me back a few steps. Others that are going to probably flow smooth. Like this one, I'm not too worried about structurally. This one, tricky, but I find visually intriguing. What I'm not sure about yet is this cutout, or at least this transition here. They might collect dust, I fear. Well, everything collects dust. If only we could stop our skin from releasing dandruff and all that stuff. We have little control there. Keep that mouth hole. Yeah, one thing I've noticed is that it kind of feels like he's screaming in a sense. This one too, and I think it's funny. I think it lends itself to the humorous side of things. Okay, so we seem to be liking this one, but we have some concerns structurally that I should keep in mind. All right, next up. It's very subtle, but I like this little angular change. It makes it feel a little quirky rather than just doing a straight across. Not sure about the hand curve yet. We'll see once I get into the modeling phase. A door. We got a cutie. Okay, that's good. That's looking like a plus. The the white one looks like a South Park Canadian. Yeah, I can see that. Let's see, do I have this as a separate layer? Oh, I don't. There you go. What are you talking about? So, are we looking at this as a yes? Now, I need to clarify that I can't just model everything 100%, or at least I need to prioritize which are the tops, which are the bottoms, which aren't quite there yet. So if we had to compare... Oh, you know what? We'll get to that later on. Got another 5 stars. Okay. 100%ing this. All right, I'm sure we'll get to a bad design next time. All right, how about this one? Here we have a tank. Very tanky character. I'm a little biased on this one. I really like it. Now, I don't know if the cuteness factor is still hitting right. Maybe. Pokemons. This is very Pokemon-like. I won't lie. But isn't Pokemon just like a ripoff of like real animals? This one is pretty swole. Okay, so this one's getting a little bit more of a negative review. Understandable. Not for everybody. Everything's derivative at some point. I'm making my own Pokemon collection, guys. Just, we're not going to call it that. I don't need any trademark lawsuits. Right now, actually, as a collection, I'm debating some names. Cosmic Companions, maybe something along those lines. I don't know if it's too rough. Want to put a key in this one? Oh, actually, if I could figure it out, it wouldn't be bad to also create something that could fill the void at some point. So as far as symbolism, there could also be this whole idea of anytime that you feel like something is missing, you feel incomplete, you can connect that with, you know, whatever passions you're pursuing, your interests, that other half that you're in love with, whatever you want in life. This could be kind of representative of that as far as the gaps. So what if maybe there is an actual item that you can incorporate in here? Not saying a key, but something to fill the void would be a cool idea. Not saying I could do that, but it's worth considering. All right, so I personally like this one, but I don't think we're going to prioritize it above the others. All right, next up. All right, this one's a bit of a weirdo. To me, he's kind of goofy, but hopefully in a good way. Kind of reminds me of a duck in a way. If we see this as a bill. But this is supposed to kind of merge into the body rather than stick out. Yeah, I see that. Anteater. What are we feeling for this one? We got thumbs up, thumbs down, in between. Yo, is that Sean Bake? Are you still in the chat? Good to see you, fam. I hope you're doing well. What does purple mean? Is it showing purple? Oh, I see purple. All right, so if we had to compare these two back to back, who would win? All right, we'll call this one A and this one B. Just in the chat, throw whichever letter you want to back. All right, tricky. Okay, I'll keep them equally placed right now. Oh, pen stopped working for a sec. Okay. All right, next up, here we got another big one. Yeah. And I'm a little disorganized with my Procreate layers right now. That's why I just started merging some stuff. Hopefully I didn't delete anything by mistake. Yeah, you got a little chubby buddy. I like how this one feels like it's kind of flower-like. We still have, again, the sun type of shapes, the star type of shapes, which in reality are just lens flares, but we're not going to worry about that. We're not going for accuracy. But I like the way this is going, and then kind of in reverse. For this opposite one, it feels very much like a tagine pot, for those of you that are aware of it. It's like a cooking type of tool. Very column-like. This big opening. Yes. Thank you, Dim Troy. Yeah, that's exactly the type of effect I wanted to go for. Yeah, the left ones are supposed to feel a bit more mechanical with those rigid lines, very sharp sort of lines, which once I get into the 3D side of things, I'll probably emphasize a little bit more. And the ones on the right should feel much more soft, very welcoming, kind of huggable. While this one, although you might want to hang out with, might be a little bit rude unintentionally. But they could just be misunderstood. They need some love too. Now, I like to use the reference of the suns, stars that emit light, and black holes that absorb light. If we go into technicals, black holes also emit light too. If we go into, you know, different... I think my mic's cutting off. Okay, I think it's worked now. So, how are we feeling about this guy? He's definitely one I'm not going to have to worry about too much as far as the structure. So this would be one of the easier designs for sure. I can probably knock this one out rather quick compared to the other models. Now, I have some other designs on the side. These haven't been colored yet, but you can still get the general gist of it. If this one stands out to you, again, just imagine. Let's see if I can quickly do a color in. This will be rough, just to make it easier to visualize. Too dark. Imagine the coloring along the inside there. Doesn't pick up when there's a transparency. So this guy's also looking a little bit on the funny side. Well, who am I kidding? They all are. And we can't forget the little twinkle in their eye. So it adds a life. Now I do have more, but I want to make sure that I'm moving forward and modeling. All right, let me just finish with these. Yeah, let me do so. Multi-phase. Yeah, much appreciated for those of you that are joining this stream today. In general, a lot of these are going to be kept pretty chill. There'll be times where I'm just going to get lost in the process. So just expect that at some point I got to lock in and just make this happen. But if at any point you want to ask a question, please feel free to do so. And I'll try to respond. It's a little bit easier once I'm working on the desktop. My iPad setup is currently facing away from the monitor, so I have to do like a glance over every single time. Holy donut. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Holy donut. That's a great name. All right, this one with his opening feels like he's very shocked. Like he's surprised. Something just scared him or has him dumbfounded. This one on the right, he's just cute. He looks like he's just looking for a friend. Like he wants to give something, but he doesn't have a gift ready. He showed up to the party and forgot that he was supposed to have something. All right, really quick before I continue, how are we feeling about either of these two? Like the flat top. The white one's friendly. I like them too. Yeah, he seems fun. I imagine him like kind of waddling over. This guy's just frozen stiff. Add a little sparkle. So when I get to the actual production side of things, I'm gonna have to come up with a very reflective, high gloss kind of thing to give me that shine. All right, next up. Here we got another one. Yeah, I like this guy. These are a pretty standard. Like the body type isn't too crazy. It isn't too weird. In a good way, in the sense that it feels like a more dependable design. Like structurally, I don't think I'm gonna have any issues making this one. I'm not too worried about this looking perfect. Again, this is the concept art stage. For those of you that have ever done concept art, it's all about just communicating the idea, not perfecting it. That will come later. Yeah, you've done plenty of concept art. I hope you continue. It's fun, just kind of imagining what could be, planning. I've said it before. Pre-production is oftentimes very underestimated, but I consider it to be one of the funnest parts of any production, whether it's, art, animation, film, etc. The idea of building, kind of getting lost in the hypotheticals, the imagination, what could be, how to get it from point A to point B, all just through, again, planning, I think could be very exciting. However, the hard part is maintaining that vision, as you're all well aware, from this stage over to the final iteration. So hopefully I won't mess it up from here to the final stage. We'll see. There's a lot for me to do still. Oh, and no pressure, but SuperCon is in, less than a month, starting the 18th. Again, for those of you that don't know, SuperCon, it's the place to be. Miami Beach Convention Center, 18th, 19th, 20th. You can see me there at the Artist Alley, hopefully with these figurines on hand. All right, moving on to another one. I went a bit more pushed the abstract proportions. Whether or not this is a success or not sure. This is me kind of trying something a bit more experimental. You tell me if you're feeling it. Couch vibes. Comfy couch, I hope. Well, this one, not so much. Mess up that trace. Yeah, very couch-like. Wow, imagine if this actually was a couch. I don't know how comfortable that would be. Yeah, but if I had a manufacturer and I had money to throw away just for fun, I'd do it. Why not? Actually, I would love to make a furniture collection at some point in the future. I've always been into interior design, architecture, things like that. So pretty much anything that can be added to make your living space just that much more special, comfortable, visually interesting, and unique. Totally be down to be involved. Just in like a large scale. Selection went off. Again, for those of you that are joining, feel free to follow through on Twitch or YouTube. I will be streaming on Instagram, at least for this week. I don't know if I'll make it a regular thing. Again, the vertical template just kind of limits a lot of what I can show. And the software that allows for that multi-stream is a little unstable. The fact it hasn't crashed yet is already pretty amazing. Luck is on our side. Looks like he got crushed by a grand piano. That's cool. In the future, I'd be down to make some figurines that are more music inspired. In fact, one thing that I really want to do, which if I stream more often, especially after SuperCon, is I want to make artworks that also have a musical component to them. In other words, I'll draw or paint something, whether it be digital or traditional, and then I want to compose some music, produce a track to go along with it, and I'll see if I can even stream that live. However, those of you that have ever made music before, it's not the most exciting process always. Think of trying to find the right snare sound, going through different samples. It can get a little tedious at some points, but in the initial concept phase, or if I'm playing along with my guitar or something, it could be super fun. All the more reason why I don't understand why there are so many people that just want to AI generate stuff. As helpful as that can be, you're missing out on the journey, the process. Music figurines, yeah. Oh, if I had all the infrastructure, you'd be able to like press a button on the figurine and it'd play the song or something. I do want to incorporate some augmented reality though. That is more accessible. That doesn't require crazy hardware. Where you can essentially scan something, whether it be a QR code associated with the figurine or the figurine itself, and it could start something up. So I'll try to dive into that area. Whether or not I can make that happen for SuperCon, not sure. That's already asking for quite a lot. I'm trying to temper ambitions a little bit. All right, so in the chat, let me know. Are you feeling this crushed grand piano couch, guys? Yay or nay? This one looks like a cannon just kind of blew through his head and warped it. You're going to be blue at SuperCon? Like just fully painted blue? Like Blue Man Group? Or am I missing something? But if so, props to you for that commitment. Okay, you'll be easy to spot. That's awesome. Ah. Blue is the coolest color. All right, so we like the couch man. All right, so before I forget, this one for sure I think is an easy follow through. This one I will make happen. This set I think a lot of you really enjoyed too. Him, I'm not sure if there is enough love. If there is, let me know. If not, right now I'll put him like a mid-tier potentially. Couch guy, I think just for fun, I want to make him because he's so different, but I will bring him down in the priority list. So he won't be one of the first, but I definitely will be making him. However, since the shapes aren't quite perfect and proportions are a little wonky, even though I want to keep it looking weird, there's a lot that I'm going to have to kind of adjust and perfect in the modeling phase. I'm down to the last two. Here's another one. So this is the classic design, or a bit closer to the classic. When I say by classic is a bit more similar to what I had originally planned for the chess pieces. So let me jump right back to that. All right, so it's hard to see, but on this corner, actually the first one I ever did was just that little sphere. Those of you that are on IG, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it. This is something that I'm showing on YouTube and Twitch. Feel free to follow. Twitch is Aldo_Infinite Moons. On YouTube, it is Infinite Moons Art. On IG, in order to kind of show certain things, I have to switch kind of the app and it can potentially crash, so I'm not even gonna risk it. Yo, Joe, what's up, man? How you doing? They're gonna throw the head at me. Yeah, the design looks like it's gonna throw it over. Joe, he's actually a good friend. I've been doing a lot of 5Ks and triathlons over the past 2 years, and Joe's been that guy to like motivate us to be leading the pack. But it's not the Joe that you're talking about. Moms are not involved here. Of which we got another triathlon in like a 2-3 weeks or so. I am not prepared for. Yeah, he's that guy. I really got to catch up. So probably in between these streams, I'll be doing like some push-ups or something. Or squats, really, because it's a lot of running. All right, let me hop back. To the iPad. Yeah, so this design, again, really simple. Just holding up a sphere of a head. A more, I guess, straightforward sun design, based on our own sun, etc., without like the little solar flares and such. But I like the idea of it kind of floating or appearing as if it's floating and holding onto it with the little hands. In the future, I would like to attempt to do like some clear resin to make it feel more like it's floating. And sooner than later, I plan on also including like a filament, or not a filament, like an LED inside to where these can even be light up. That's what I really want to end up at with these figurines. But till then, I'm going to keep it a little bit simple, proof of concept, make sure people are even interested, make sure that I can even make this happen, and then I'll start to level it up. In fact, I have already a lot of my gear for like soldering and cabling and LEDs ready right off camera. So I'm going to be learning a little bit, or reminding myself a little bit of electrical engineering soon, just to make that happen. I know for some of you that's easy. I've forgotten a lot over the years. So how do you feel about this guy? They all look so cute. I'm glad. They're all little cuties. This one does look very similar to the first one. Except, you know, we got like a nice Chungus here. Now, I don't mind there being kind of repeating looks, but there should be a little bit more personality showing through. So I'm in full agreement that this one should be modified a little bit further. I was even doing a bit of kind of like a check mark, you know, triangular type of shape. Maybe I can exaggerate that a little bit further. This one, although very simple, I think is going to be, you know, a fairly easy. There is structural worry, you know, in these connections that I'll have to think about. I think we can make that happen. All right. Okay, so I'm in agreement. I'm going to change this one up a little bit. For the sake of just developing this further, I'm going to give it a little bit of color. Tracing is all right, I know why I'm struggling. Hold up. So, I forgot. Anytime you're working on a screen, get your handy dandy glove. Friction is annoying, so anytime you can combat it, now I can work a little bit smoother. There you go. Bam, much smoother. Clean. Again, just looking for a rough concept. Eventually I'll do better looking versions of this if I figure out any packaging or something. I don't know if I can do that though by the time SuperCon rolls around though. Alright, reminder, I'm a small creator. I do what I can. But what I do, hopefully, is good enough. All right, and as far as coloring, definitely along the rim. Maybe this outside portion would be cool colored. Oh, got the wrong color. Actually, I might go with more of a cobalt blue. This is looking kind of teal, mint, peppermintish. Would I ever stream video games? Maybe. I mean, I want to keep this somewhat professional. And the type of games that I play are more story oriented. Which, if people are interested, you know, I'll definitely chime in. In fact, my concept before, because I did used to stream a little bit. This was, you know, pandemic times. I had what I referred to as my Sundays, literal Sunday, where I approached it more relaxed, where I just would game a little bit. Like just recently, the game that I just finished, literally like a couple days ago, and I'm kind of going back to try to 100%, is Black Myth Wukong, which I think is a pretty awesome game. Story-wise, hard to kind of follow. There's a lot of mythology there, but I'm fascinated in general by mythology, whether Chinese, you know, Greek, Nordic. So if I were to stream, it'd probably be stuff like that. As far as gaming goes, I don't know if there's enough interest. I'm not even sure what else I'd be wanting to play. All I know is at this moment, SuperCon is what I have in mind, what I got to focus on. And my general rule is work hard, then play hard. So I got to earn that game time. That way, I can actually enjoy it thoroughly. Because I have this issue where anytime I have free time, I kind of start to feel guilty if I'm not being productive or if I haven't accomplished enough in that day. It can be very torturing. So it's not a mentality that I would wish upon others. It can be helpful when it comes to getting a lot done, that for sure. I can be very productive, but also very self-defeating in some aspects. Yeah, highly recommend Black Myth Wukong. The only other games I'm interested at the moment... Damn, I'm not sure. The new Assassin's Creed looks cool. I still haven't played God of War Valhalla or Ragnarok. Oh, my bad. Before I continue with that, here we got another design. This one is definitely pushing outside of the realm of all the others. This is definitely the ugly duckling, the outsider of all the other designs. If you guys want to bash it, feel free. Again, this was me throwing a Hail Mary. If you think it works, maybe I can keep going this route to this weird distortion. I say ugly in a good thing. Like, I'm sure you've all seen ugly, cute things. Like there are whole pages of ugly dogs and cats that you still want to like hug and pet. So I don't mean ugly in a negative context. Unironically, my favorite. Hey Kevin, how you doing? Wow, OG. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Joe, sorry, I just saw your messages. Yes, I'm going to be at SuperCon and the Artist Alley. This is Procreate. Probably my favorite drawing app on the iPad. just to kind of see, this is currently what I'm working on. It seems very simple, nothing too crazy, but even within here, I have some other designs that I've gone more all out with. It allows for so much versatility. Like this is a piece that I did before where I took it probably around 90% of the way here. I know my colors are a little off. Let me see if I can adjust my aperture. Maybe that'll help a little bit. And one of my favorite things about using Procreate is the fact that it essentially time lapses your entire thing. So especially when people are like, "Oh, did you AI generate that?" I'm like, no. Here's my proof. If it plays. There you go. You can see the step-by-step process, all the little lines, all the mistakes, all the adjustments. Let me fast forward a little bit. There you go. And it also helps me see, you know, what direction I went. Did I go the right routes? Was it good decisions that I made? Bad decisions? Were the colors good? Sometimes when we work on things, you know, we might go down a direction that maybe was not intended for better or worse. So to be able to look back and reflect on that is so awesome within this app. Yo, Gert. Again with that. It's never gonna end. Oh, you got your ticket? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll be there all 3 days, so just swing by, say hi. All right, so does this mean we got yeses for this guy? Let me do a quick color. So in the chat, if you guys want to say yay or nay. Again, you won't hurt my feelings if you're not quite liking it or if it's outside of your wheelhouse. This is just for me to decide which ones to prioritize creating first. If I were thinking like a businessman, then sure, I'd have to see, oh, which ones are more likely to sell. But I also just want to make stuff for fun, for myself, and hopefully for other people to enjoy. Whatever sells or doesn't sell, I'll worry about that later. Right now, what do I think is cool? Yeah, he's a funky guy. So this one for sure, since he's on the weird side, as far as body dimensions, a lot of this will be playing around in the 3D modeling phase to see what works and what doesn't. Some may translate well, some may not. In fact, if any of you have ever seen some concept art before for any like 3D film or animated film, the concept art compared to a 3D model can drastically change. Now, this could be due to, you know, the art director giving a different kind of direction, I guess, opinion on things. Or it could be that it just doesn't look right once you enter into this phase. So we'll see. But it's not just looking from the front. Does it look good from the side view, from behind, 3/4? All that needs to work. Forgot to put the nice little shine in these eyes. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Since there's so many here, I'm gonna put a number to go along with each one of these. Those of you that are interested and willing to give in your input, all I ask is that you put 3 of your favorites numbered in the chat. This will let me know which ones I should try to prioritize. So if I got 1, 1, 2, actually, let me make it a little brighter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Any 3 numbers that are working for you, just type them in the chat. If you can't see it too well, my apologies. I can try zooming in and panning around and such. Oh, how much would I sell these for? Good question. I'm not sure pricing yet. There's a lot I have to factor in. For one is the cost of the materials. So essentially, I'm gonna have to do like measurements of how much resin I use per model, how many pigments, paint, colorings, etc. All that's gonna have to be factored in, as well as time to make it. But I also don't want to make these incredibly expensive either. I expect to be at a bit of a loss with these first wave. But, I'm probably gauging around $15 or so, potentially. Not sure yet, but I'd like to keep it around there. I think that's reasonable for figurines. In fact, a lot of figurines tend to be around $30, like the more collectible ones, but I'm not there yet. At most, probably $20. But I don't want to overdo it. However, I would like these to sell and help fund the next wave or the repeats of these, because I want to have multiples so people can try to collect them all. Pokemon style-esque. I want to have a collection for myself, too. Yeah, 3 numbers. You're just throwing all the numbers at the wall. All right, so 3 definitely seems to be getting a lot of love. That's good. All right, let me put a little button on 3. Yeah, those of you on IG. Yeah, I think IG even froze, so no one could probably see that too well. All right, 8 is getting some attention. That's good. Can you get a discount? Maybe I could do... I got to figure out something there, because if not, everyone's aiming for the discount, so I have to find a way to make it very prestigious. I don't know. I'll see. All right, 12 got a lot. Nice. I was worried about 12. All right, then we have some runner-ups. We got 6, 10, 11, and 9. So that means our losers, oh, hate to hurt their feelings. 1 and 2, not enough love. So these guys aren't going to be chess pieces. That I have those designs already kind of finished off. You can see it on my website, infinitemoons.com, like a little preview of what those are going to be like. These are inspired by those chess pieces that I attempted before. Baguette Nose. Thank you for that. Is your nose truly that large? So just to kind of clarify, previously I tried making my own chess set, and I'm still going to follow through with that. However, the logistics were a little too difficult to create the overall board with all its pieces at a large scale, at least for some of the requests that I was receiving. So instead, I'm just going to focus on individual figurines for now, which are just characters. They're going to be standalone, with the main thing being that there are opposites for each design, kind of opposing. And what I learn off of this process, I'll then follow through with the chess piece and try to make that happen again. But again, when I do start to make those chess boards, it's going to be on like a pre-order basis, because I can't just start making a bunch of them. It's a lot of work. I'm just one guy. I know how to do stuff, but I only have so much time and so much expertise. There's still a lot that I'm figuring out on this end. Okay, so 1, 2, these are gonna go roll back. 4, roll back. I think 5 got a little love. Let's see. Yeah, 5 did get some love, so I'm gonna keep that in there. My booth number, I think it's B04. So if you check on the SuperCon website, jump into the Artist Alley page, you'll see a list of all the different artists that are in there. Since my name starts with an A, I'm like right up front, so it's easy to see. There's also a SuperCon app. So once you get your ticket, you can input your ticket number, and it should give you, a bit of information as far as layout and such. But if I remember correctly, it's B04. Let me verify that. So if I'm on the SuperCon page, nice, we're going to get John Boyega. It's going to be coming through. Any Star Wars fans out there? Hop into Explore, Artist Alley. There I am, B04. Yeah, that's going to be my section, or my booth number. All right, and 7 did not get enough love. So they'll still be made at some point. I'm just going to hold off. So it looks like 3, you're going to be first. Ooh. This little cute buddy. So I'm going to try modeling him out. I think I'll start with that tomorrow, potentially. Not sure. Should I continue the stream? Let me hop on over to the other side. All right, back in RL, sort of. Okay, so yeah, we got a lot of love for number 3, which is good. Hello. So I'll follow through with that. Hop to my white cam. So I like the designs again. If you're enjoying it, cool. I'm definitely gonna try out a few more concepts. It's likely that since I'll be streaming again tomorrow night, as well as Thursday night, potentially also Friday. One of those might be a quiet session where I'm just drawing a bunch of stuff. You can still hop in and ask questions, but all of these streams won't always be as active. Not that that's a bad thing. Just it's really hard to get a lot done while chatting simultaneously. But I know that's the purpose. But it's all about balance. I got to figure out the right balance. How many of you are willing to stick around? Should I start 3D modeling already, or should I continue tomorrow? What to do? What to do? Willing to stick? It's funny. I just noticed that my title still said new sticker designs. I was attempting to do some stickers. I did like a previous stream just to kind of test things out. But I don't have enough time to get those manufactured. So ignore that title. That's definitely way off. All right, Alex. Glad you'll be sticking around too. Alex farting. All right, cool. All right, then first things first. I'm going to hop back into Procreate, and I'm going to send out these images to myself so I can open it up on my desktop computer. Should be easier for me to see the chat now, too. I hate these figures. I hate art. That's okay. You know, not everyone, you know, likes joy or to be happy. So if you just hate stuff, you have the right to do so. You can hate whatever you want to. I just feel bad for you if you hate art. Nah, I don't believe Alex would say that. All right, then hop on over to the Photoshops. All right, we've got our little designs. Got my ratings. Don't be mean. It's all love. Long as you've been on Twitch before. I like Twitch. Depending on who you're watching in the stream, like, I don't think I'm anything special, but there are like some really good streamers here that have a lot of stuff going on at once. Hopefully I'll get to that point. But if you're looking at the right, you know, games, artists, you know, some cool chat groups, Twitch can be pretty fun. There's some weird sides of Twitch too, but, you know, that's everything. Reinstalled just for this? Thank you. Thank you. You're a real one. You're all real ones. I really appreciate you following through. Aw. You're going to make me even sadder that you guys left. It was already heartbreaking seeing that graduation. You always have the internet. All right, I'm isolating this guy. want to save them out. All right, so here is where I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of some input. Give me a placeholder name. I cannot claim that this will be the name for this particular figure, but if you can give me something just for me to use in the meantime, it'll help me out with identifying them. Or I can just go with, you know, A1, A2, Bringle. That's what comes out off the top, Bringle. Bringle. We got a second for Bringle. Okay, we got that winning so far. Yeah, I'm not trying to get rid of you guys. All right, Zach. Wow. All right, Bringle. Bringle's getting a lot of love. Why Bringle? Bringle and Schmingle. Oh, true, because they do come as a pair. Bringle and Schmingle. All right, Bringle and Schmingle it is. Zach and Alex. All right, Bringle and Schmingle. All right, next. Hop on over to Blender. Now, Blender just did a new update on my computer since I was using Steam, so hopefully my plugins are still there. Let me make this a little larger. Oh, you got one of the emotes that's working? I forgot I had those. Yeah, I have some custom emotes. That's my Pog Luna. Gregory lurking? That's fine. Not everyone has to be active. Some people just want to vibe. I got nothing wrong with that. All right, so right now I'm just trying to import the image so I can use it as a bit of a reference. Hopefully this works for Bringle and Schmingle. You guys can see that? Hello, Bringle and Schmingle. Welcome to the world. Their first time living. Their first time living, correct. Desi, thank you for that follow. How's it going, Desi? All right, I'm going to start off probably going somewhat symmetrical, I guess, with this build-up. Actually, I'm going to have it off to the side. Wait, really quick, I need to clarify who is Bringle and which one is Schmingle. So I know we need to keep it in mind, like who's who. I don't want to mix them up, you know, hurt their feelings. It's up to the imagination. All right, then we're probably gonna switch it back and forth. the P one. I want to get a plushie of one of them and soak it in milk and throw it against the wall. This is a good thing. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Schmingle is the P one. The what? What does that mean? Oh, the yellow one. I don't know. We were talking about milk for a moment. I was hoping you weren't going to different liquids. If we make enough, we could all meet up and play. I would totally be down to make some of these as plushies, but one step at a time. I need a proof of concept first before I can take it that far. However, I know there are some people like on Etsy and such that maybe I can contract for if I provide them the dimensions. But I want to be able to replicate it on my own, or at least have a dependable way to manufacture it. No, ethically too. I don't want it to be wasteful. You can play plush collection, super rare golden Alex. It'll add to my collection, along with the what is it, the monkey cheese. Monkey cheese or la boo boo. So right now I'm just trying to add a little bit of dimension to it. Nothing too crazy. Actually, I might change my approach to this. Alright. This is actually kind of silly. Let me start off with a... Let's go cylinder. grid fill. Again, apologies if I'm not as actively talking. This is me when I'm trying to essentially fix a couple things. And prep. Okay, now I got it going. Segment out a few things. Want to prepare for where the legs are going to be. Talking about mustard. Why are you talking about mustard? I mean, there are way better condiments than mustard. All right, so now I'm just prepping the little hand, scaling it out. What I'm essentially doing is just like a basic sculpt or model, I should say, within Blender. I'll be taking it into ZBrush later on. We are sitting in a Discord watching this. Oh, you got a Discord session going? Curious, what have you guys been up to aside from mustard? Says some people were out of town. Anywhere in particular? Anywhere special? Got sunburnt. Been in my grandma's house. Lots of swimming. Bottom tier condiments. Is it bottom tier? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad with that assessment. I need to get back to swimming, especially with this other triathlon coming up. Hoping to hit up the beach later this week. Screenwriting, cool. Intro to writing. South Carolina and the Blue Ridge Mountains. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, so lucky. Love to be able to see that. Editing, having this streaming in the background. Nice. I appreciate that. So that's actually my preferred way to enjoy streams in general. Just to kind of work on something, then just have it playing off to the side. Kind of feels like you're working in the same place, just hanging out in the same room. Like, I would love to be able to put out a bunch of videos on social media and such, but I don't have a lot of time for that. So I would much rather just work on what I need to do and live stream it, and hopefully you guys will come on through and just kind of enjoy, ask questions, vibe without any pressure. Editing, getting my degree in engineering, pulling out my hair swell. Don't pull out your hair unless that's the hairstyle you're going for. If you want to pull like a one punch, sure. The stress, that will never go away. How you manage it though, that's probably the first thing you should try to figure out. What calms you down? What helps you balance it out? What makes everything just a little bit more bearable when handling your responsibilities? It never gets easy. But you can learn to appreciate things a whole lot more. Now, as far as an engineering degree, I have no idea what you're dealing with. All I could do is wish you the best. Hopefully you're at least finding, you know, what you're learning interesting. Yeah, when editing, I can't watch anything. Can't concentrate when there's two sources of audio. I agree. I always recommend music without any vocals, instrumentals. Hopefully I'm not talking too much to mess up your edit. But yeah, things can get very noisy very fast during an edit. And with too much going on at once, very easy to lose your flow. I start new content on my YouTube channel, vlogs and game theories. Oh, that's cool. I definitely check it out. Yeah, keep that creative outlet going. There's so many people that kind of forget to have hobbies. And they end up wondering why they're getting depressed. If you're lucky, your hobby can also be part of your job. But if not, at the very least, do something that you can be proud of. And there are plenty of things, you know, like video games, movies that you can enjoy yourself with. But I highly recommend being able to create something, because to me, that can provide some of the most profound appreciations for yourself. Like, when's the last time you felt proud of yourself? Chances are it's when you either made something or did something that you accomplished that took a lot of effort. I'm proud of myself for 100%ing some video games, sure, but it's not the same as when I bring something from a concept in my head to the real world. It's a whole nother feeling altogether. Made all the more special when other people appreciate it. And for those of you that are playing D&D, that can be so fulfilling in its own right because you are in fact making that world as you play it. So you're kind of doing a two birds, one stone situation. You're creating and experiencing it simultaneously. Whatever, I'm missing a lot of stuff. I'm not editing. Wants to make a new game. I mean, you can. I'm sure you have plenty of ideas going on. And the barrier to entry for games keeps getting much easier with these game engines, with the art side of things. Yes, I do. Thing is, I lose motivation quick, get distracted too easily, so it's hard for me to make anything for YouTube. Trust me, I understand completely. You can hype yourself up, you get a great idea, you want to follow through with it, but you know, maybe something else catches your eye, another idea, another, you know, thing to do, you know, family, life, responsibilities. There are going to be a lot of things begging for your attention. Prioritizing is something that only you can kind of choose what's most important. For example, I always want to create stuff, but I have to recognize that I sometimes get distracted too. But with purpose, I got to spend time with my family. Got to spend time with friends. Not as a like a requirement thing, but just, you know, for that joy too. Or if you get another idea that's just really good, this has happened to me so many times, you think, oh, should I pursue this one instead? And then you're kind of left in limbo, not knowing which route to take. That could be a bit annoying. Having too many ideas can be just as bad as not having enough. Satisfying looking back at older art because I can see the improvement. Yeah, that's always a great thing. Like, if you can keep track of and archive your artworks or anything that you do creatively, even if it's not like art, if it's, you know, music, if it's writing, if it's video editing, if it's filming, having a bit of an archive of stuff you've done in the past as a frame of reference is so helpful. Because I talk to my students all the time about this, or at least within art, it's easy to kind of forget how much progress you've made. It isn't until you look at huge jumps in time between your past self and your recent self that it's more obvious to see. But on the day to day, that progress can easily get lost. You may not be aware of the improvements you're making. You may be unaware of what you're learning or putting into play until you can actually see it actualized. So if you can, again, keep an archive for yourself, those of you that are drawing, awesome. If you can't even keep all the papers, at the very least, take photos, create like a folder on your computer, stash it all together, and revisit it every once in a while. It's very satisfying to see where you started and where you're at. And it's humbling when you find out just how much further you have to go. Like, I'm positive I'm going to do a stream in the future where I'm going to probably get like an old drawing of mine from when I was in like middle school or high school, and I'll try recreating it and see how far I can take it. I think that'll be a fun one. I'm almost 3 years into a campaign, over 50 sessions under my belt. That's awesome. That's dedication. Keep that going. I'm a little bit in limbo right now with one of the sessions. I'm the DM for a Descent into Avernus game, but I've had to pause so many times to do work stuff that we're in limbo. I guess there's a pun there somewhere. For those of you that don't know, Descent into Avernus is essentially like going to hell in D&D. Hopefully we'll be able to start that up again. All right, proportions aren't looking too bad. Yeah, life always gets in the way with these things. I can never start a session on time. Yeah, it is what it is. As long as you can have, friends, players that are understanding. Scheduling is always the toughest part. But if everyone can get on the same page, you can keep that campaign running for even more years. Like, I'm sure you've heard stories of some people that have continued some for like decades. Power to them. That's impressive. Nick has a dog named Luna. Oh, that's awesome. I hope Luna is treated really well. Give Luna all the snacks. All the snacks. All right. Let me do a mirror. Oh, and very important, make sure you save. Anytime you make a lot of progress on something, don't forget to save. Last thing I would want is Bringle and Schmingle to die before they had a chance to be fully formed with a program crash. Bringle, Schmingle, blend file. There you go. I honestly see me breaking 100 sessions with the amount of stuff still left. How much of your campaign is pre-designed compared to modified? Like, how much of it is homebrew? By the way, on a separate note, stylistically, each one of these little figurines is going to have like a little bit of a booty. I just find it funny. and I just like the idea of it having something back there to kind of see. So don't be surprised. You'll see what I mean as I sculpt it more. All right, let me see. We haven't reached what I consider to be halfway point. Wow. 50 sessions in and you're still not even halfway. Keep at it. Is there a concept behind the campaign? Like a theme, I should say. It's based on One Piece. Also, a lot of homebrew. You're saving their life by saving. Yeah, you're saving their life by saving. I'm glad I saved it. Who knows? We may have lost them. There's a potential for it. Let's see. One Piece? Oh, that's cool. Make an island I want. Just makes sense. That's awesome. No, I got to get back to watching One Piece. I kind of gave up after a while. It's too many episodes. But it's such a good show. Or at least it's like such a fun watch. In fact, I expect there to be a lot of One Piece stuff at SuperCon. So every island has been fleshed out. Wow. Yeah, must be a lot of world building then. I was gonna mention that she definitely has a dumpy. Has a dumpy. One Piece too short. Yeah. In reality, it should have what? At least 4,000 episodes. Can never have enough One Piece. Got that dumpy. Had to drop it down a little more. Yeah, I've even edited an intro with a recap by voice over each session. It's definitely my passion. Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, that's a lot of dedication. I hope your players appreciate it. If they don't, man, they're so spoiled. 18 months employed. What does this mean? Get your bread up. Hopefully it's not too awkward. Me spending so much time modeling this butt. All right, the hands I need to make more fin-like. Oh, that's sticking out way too much. That's so like a weird BBL. All right, this one. Cape Coral. Me, another DM, and 4 players. Oh, so there's 2 DMs. Wow, double team. That's actually pretty cool. Like to have that assistance. So you essentially take turns, I'm assuming. As well, it's been fun. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of character art designs. Drawing full body shots of each of the characters. Since I have gotten around to it yet, wanted to get better at drawing first. I mean, yeah, I understand. One frustrating thing is when you want to, like, you have a vision in your head of how you want it to look, but the skills aren't quite there yet to, actualize it. You have 2 approaches there. One is take it as far as you can, then settle for what you're capable of. Option 2 is you can be in a never-ending drawing session where like you'll never feel like it's complete, so you'll keep tweaking it, you'll keep revisiting it week after week, or day after day, week after week, month after month, maybe even year after year. Or what I'd like to do is anytime I do a drawing, if possible, include a good mix of challenging and easy to do. In other words, one thing that I emphasize a lot, which I'll be talking about in my streams often, is what's referred to as the flow state. When you're able to work on something, draw something, and it feels intuitive, it feels like it's just flowing naturally, like you're, drawing it, you're creating it, and it doesn't feel overly complicated, but still challenging enough. That's where you want to be at. If you're drawing something and it feels overwhelming, like you feel as if, how am I going to pull this off? How is this going to make sense? Then all you can do is just kind of remind yourself to trust the process, simplify first, and build up little by little. So basic shapes, basic outlines, then try to avoid going too heavy on your details early because you can get lost in the complexities of things. And then little by little, get to that final outcome you want, but trusting the process and allowing you time to progress. and be easy on yourself. So I have a few straight vertices. Yeah, he's super into the combat stuff. I mainly do the story stuff. Oh, that's cool. I'm more into the story stuff myself, if it isn't obvious. I do like the combat. Just personally, I'm not enough of a veteran of a DM to have every single spell memorized or to be able to do a good job of balancing out a fight. Like, I'm still figuring that out. For example, I have some players that are at the right level, but they're so overpowered in their builds that it's hard for me to make some battles challenging. Or when I do make them challenging, it's like too much to where they're on the brink of dying almost every single moment. So I need to figure out how to balance out my combat a bit more. Because the suggestions that come with modules aren't always very good. And I really like doing homebrew stuff, like modifying enemies, situations. That way, in case they've read it before and they know what to expect, I can still surprise them. Yeah, he's super into. All right. Have you played Deltarune? No, I'm ashamed to say I don't even know what that is. What is Deltarune? Sounds cool. Let me do a quick search. Deltarune characters at SuperCon. That's why you're gonna be fully blue, right? Someone's chapters 1 through 4, Switch. All right, so one issue I have is I don't own a Switch. I would like to. But they tend to why do they keep it so expensive? Oh, it's on Steam. Okay, perfect. Then I could definitely get it. I just hate that everything is so closed. And I committed to PlayStation and PC a long time ago. So I would love to get a Switch 2. However, that being said, since it's on Steam and I have my ROG Ally X, since I can still play mobile, I would be down. Oh, okay. Let me put it up on screen really quick. Maybe you can enlighten me to some of this stuff. Chapters 1 and 2 are free. It's like the successor to Undertale. Undertale's another one that I've never played. I've heard a lot of great things. Way too familiar with the music and some of the characters. Should I play Undertale first? Like, is it like a prerequisite? 1 through 4. Okay, I see. Next adventure in the Undertale series. So it is an extension of it. More enjoyable if you do. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down for it, actually. I love the pixel art style. So it is a turn-based. Yeah, really cool art style. It's not a sequel, but it's worth it. Yeah, it's turn-based. Okay, I grew up. Oh, I see. Nice. I grew up loving RPGs. Big Final Fantasy fan. And games like that, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross.
Sans in this. Yeah, I mean, if it seems worthwhile, I wouldn't mind trying it out. In fact, let me check what is Undertale at right now on Steam. For those of you that are curious, I am playing a mobile, I mean, not a mobile game, but a game on my ROG Ally X at the moment. It's called Eastward. Eastward. It's pretty cool so far for those of you that are interested. But I wouldn't mind installing this too. Oh, Undertale's just $10 with an overwhelmingly positive review. Yeah, it's a cult following. I don't doubt it. And Deltarune. Oh, so they have a demo available. If I play the demo, does that progress continue if I get the full version? Anyone happen to know that? If so, let me know. Balatro. Didn't it get Game of the Year? I'm more interested again in like storytelling type of games. Balatro, from my understanding, is it could be more of the addicting type, but if it does have a good story, like a start and finish, I'm for it. What I try to avoid are any games that require too long of a grind or all like rank based or essentially infinite. I need to have some sort of finality to it. If not, it'll get the worst out of me as far as time consumption goes. Oh, you're going to SuperCon as Zachfair from Final Fantasy VII? That's awesome. That's so cool. Homebrew is fun. D&D is one of those few pieces of entertainment where I feel like I have full control over an experience. Agreed. It's also a very personal one because it's between a tight-knit group of people. Yeah. I mean, the relationship, the bonds you can build with not just the people, but the characters. D&D is S tier as far as games. Anyone that's never played it is missing out. And those of you that have played it that don't like it, you probably just haven't had the right group or the right story. Deltarune was the main inspiration for Terrible Friends and Cutscene. Really? So not the Lego movie. Well, not Cutscene. Okay. It was an inspiration for me for Cutscene. All right, then. I feel like I feel obligated to play Deltarune now. How do I feel? Have you played through the FF7 remakes? I played the first release of the FF7 remake. I'm dying to play the second. Again, huge fan, but that's another one of those games where I will have to 100% it. I'm such a diehard fan of the original, of even like the PSP, releases they did for it, the animated film. I was really obsessive with Final Fantasy. And even before 7, like I was really into even the first two. Like I'm not that old to have been playing when they first released it, but when they did the PlayStation re-releases, I was into it. I loved FF8, 9, 10, 12. 11 was online. I never got into it. Yeah, Rebirth. Way better than the first remake game. Is it? All right, see, I feel like I'm missing out. I will play it. I know for a fact I will. I just got to get to it. Again, right now I'm deadlocked on SuperCon. I can probably squeeze in Undertale, right before bed on my handheld. But something like FF7, I'd be diehard, just committed. Like, I probably will lose sleep. Oh, they have cool merch. Oh, that's a nice shirt. Took me 90 hours to beat. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm sure you enjoyed every hour. At least most of it. I don't know what the leveling is like in that game, but that's one of those games where I would gladly spend those 90. Red herring. Thank you for that. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Red herring, you have in fact distracted me. You are living up to the name. Hi. Just Nick, thank you for the follow. How's it going? Getting the band back together. Never separated. Good. Gert? Oh, that's good. I'm glad you guys still keep it up. Trust me, it's important. Any good friends are worth holding on to long term as much as you can. I'm lucky enough to have some really good friends of mine that I've known for decades at this point. They're definitely rocks in my life. If you have that with some people, maintain it. And try not to lose it over squabbling over little things. Because fights will happen. It's probably a sign that you're even gooder friends. The best of friends. And hang out all the time. Awesome. These friends aren't terrible. They're not terrible friends. Save that for the game. Or yeah, it does look like a lamp. Lamp for now. I gotta get my basic shapes down first. Oops. Lamp head would be cool. Now, again, I mentioned it before, but one of my goals is to hopefully make these into actual lights in the future. So, lamp head isn't too far off. How should I approach this? Yeah, it's supposed to look very crown-like, but 3D wise, I want to make sure that it structurally makes sense. Like right now, this is looking way too thin. Like that's gonna cause me a lot of problems down the road. Let me just do some larger extrusions instead. Dip in the inside of that crown. I think would be interesting. You cut this up. Can't forget to save. We don't want to lose Bringle and Schmingle's lives. Must protect them by any means. Those of you that use Blender, if any of you mess with it, do you remember how to reset the model coordinates so that it matches the global? Like to remove its internal history. I completely forgot. If that makes no sense to you, don't worry about it. Rocks. Who got rocks? You got a rock collection? Are you doing like photogrammetry? We're doing some sightseeing in Vegas. Been a ton of cool rock formations. One of the parks we visited. Nice. Let's see. All the running around we've done. Yeah, Vegas is great to visit. All the desert spaces, Grand Canyon, of course. To me, by far, is still one of the best. One of my favorite locations I've been to. I remember hiking up some of the rocks, seeing, the many, many feet drop off, getting behind some large structures, to where like the wind was hitting very strong, but as soon as we went behind it, it felt like there was like a silent gap, like all air was kind of sucked away and it just became so peaceful. Some of those spaces are just so immense. Gorgeous views. I mean, Vegas itself is fun, of course. But like if you're going for nature visits, there's a lot of really cool stuff to see there. Grand Canyon spans multiple states. It's close to Vegas, not in Vegas. It's just nearby. Yeah, Grand Canyon is that immense. So just to clarify, I know it's Arizona, but something else. Yeah, so Arizona, Nevada, Utah. It's grand for a reason. Yeah, that's why it's grand. It is immense. And depending on which state you're visiting it, they have different, locations to check out. I did the transparent walk, where you're walking over the glass. It's cool. I think there are better views of the Grand Canyon than that one. If you do it, it's still worthwhile. But there are so many more. Like if you get a chance to actually scale and hike some of it, that's when you're truly gonna experience a Grand Canyon the way it's supposed to. I really want to visit Omega Mart. Seen someone. Omega Mart is awesome. Definitely one of my main highlights for going. In fact, one of my goals artistically is to work with Meow Wolf if they ever do anything in Miami. Meow Wolf, for those of you that don't know, is the group, the art collective essentially behind Omega Mart and a bunch of other installations. Super crazy. The concepts fascinating. If you've never heard of Omega Mart, you have interactive storylines. It's super abstract. It feels like you're inside of an Adult Swim commercial, for those of you that are familiar with that. But with a lot of really smart uses of art, projection, film, even. Mike Diva, who's a very famous video editor at this point, he was heavily involved with the promo materials. He does some really cool stuff, very weird humor, but in a good way. All right, go enjoy your eats. Hopefully it's delicious. Yeah, but highly recommend Omega Mart. Super fun. And in that whole area, I think it's Area 15. I forgot the name of it. Like, Omega Mart is part of a larger warehouse with a bunch of other attractions. You can spend an entire day in there playing all sorts of different games, going through interactive exhibits, art galleries, good food. You'd have to dedicate a whole day. Just fair warning, Omega Mart is much more on the weird and trippy side. I understand it's not for everybody, but if you're into that sort of style, 100% recommend. All right, I don't like the way I approach this, so I'm going to start this one over. Maybe starting off with a cone primitive. So used to like sculpting out my designs. This is helping me like force to think a little bit more minimalist. joining next stream. See you at SuperCon. Awesome. Glad you can join. I really appreciate it. I'll probably be exiting out myself too very soon. If not, probably like at around 11 max. I just want to at least get enough done for either Bringle or Schmingle. But thank you for having been with me. I truly appreciate it. Have a great night. And I'll see you next time. Make sure I connect this. This part can get a little annoying. Just making sure all my vertices are correct, in order. Not causing any issues. So my mirror should now work. All right, let's see. Chip live. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if you're joining now, or if you've been with for a while. But essentially, right now, I'm trying to come up with my own figurine designs. So I was doing a bit of concept art a little earlier, doing quite a bit of drawings. Did a bit of a voting process of sorts, and led to these being the first to then start actualizing. I'll be showcasing at SuperCon artist show. And I wanted to have something to kind of go along with it, just to match the general vibe of that show. Plus, I think figures are so cool. Now, some is getting a little bit lost in translation, so I got to tweak some stuff out. I'm more used to doing a sculpting rather than just more traditional modeling, I guess. Because here it's more like push and pull different vertices. It works, but it can get a little tedious. I might toss it into ZBrush tomorrow when I continue. Yeah, but if you got any questions, please feel free to ask. If you're curious about anything. Let's do a general smooth. Let's see what happens. A lot of my art tends to be based on space or inspired by it. I don't know about you. I would love to go out into space at some point. I look forward to the time where space travel is more accessible, and hopefully not wasteful. So we have to take into account, of course, fuel efficiency, etc. But I always like to think about how immense the universe is, what is out there, what to be appreciative of, and how much we have yet to learn. Yeah, I got too many vertices. I'm merging some of these. Less is more. Trying to keep it minimalist. Okay, I'm liking the way that looks. Definitely a little better. Gotta have some supports. Widen out to the side. Want to make sure it kind of gives a little bit of a lava lamp look, I guess, or a volcano. Not that it was inspired by it, but it seems to have the visual language of that. Make sure the peak in the center is maybe a little stronger. I'll add some more asymmetry down the road. For right now, keeping it simple, easier on my end by mirroring. All right, let me check my proportions. Not too bad. Definitely way chunkier down at the bottom than initially intended. So I gotta modify that a little. Let's see. Okay, it's looking a little better. Messed up the hands a little bit. That's fine. We can correct it. All right, then tried and true method. Forgot I had cutoffs. All right, let's try that again. Let's delete all of you. And now we get to do the fun part, I say sarcastically, of organizing our vertices. If any of you happen to be experts in this realm, you have more efficient method, please let me know. Don't let me torture myself. Unless that brings you joy, which I would argue is kind of messed up. What's wrong with you? But I get you. Yeah, I'm essentially having to delete a bunch of the unnecessary vertices or merge just so I can flatten these out and be able to mirror. Make sure I don't have any strays. Okay, looking good. Scaling together. Okay. What happened with this one? No, get back in line. Oh, we got a stray. Let's merge you guys. Hopefully I don't have any double faces. Okay, that seems right. Do a quick subdivision. Gotta check the booty. It's looking a little droopy. Don't like that. Can't have a droopy booty. All right, in the sculpting process in ZBrush, I'll adjust all that. All right, quick save. Another comparison. Okay. Top does not feel like it's right. And this side profile is not looking too hot. So this is something that I would mention before. I have mentioned before that just because something looks good in 2D does not mean that it looks good in 3D. At least it may not always translate perfectly. So I need to make some sort of adjustments. Got to think position-wise. I have to think about balance. So this, if it were to be an actual character, would be toppling over. The weight doesn't feel distributed well. So I'm gonna try shifting this back a little bit, maybe. I think the butt may actually have to stick out a little more than expected. Arch the back. Slide it in. I like the characters to have a bit of a belly. And I like this swoop going on in the front. Smooth out those vertices a little bit. I thought this was a face. No. No. The face is technically just the top cone. The bottom here is the body. Oop, I over smoothed this part. It looks super cute on the art. Yeah, I'm hoping I can translate the cuteness factor. Again, the tricky thing is translating over the design to still look just as adorable once I, of course, finish making it in 3D. Which, just to get it a little bit closer to visualizing it, let me put some eyes in here. I'll have to introduce some asymmetry next. Do they have names? Bringle and Schmingle were the names that were suggested. Uh, they seem to have stuck. Whether or not this one is Bringle or Schmingle, we have yet to determine. I do not know. Your guess is as good as mine. He's looking kind of cute. A little bit there. Bringle and Schmingle. I think the yellow one has big Schmingle energy. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit of Schmingle on this one. Now, I'm by no means done with the 3D model, but I'm just applying some materials just to kind of get a little feel as to what it might look like. Luckily, I have some saved materials. Looking at a Schmingle here. Got a big gap here. Alright, he looks mildly reminiscent of a mushroom, and I like it. Hey, I'm mad at that. So, definitely has like similar curvatures. I mean, not right now. Of course, I gotta showcase it again. So even though like the loose theme is that of like stars, black holes, at least that's the inspiration. I want the characters to vary a lot in their design choice, in their visual language. Just to kind of quickly go back to staring at it. I think the spikes of a lens flare from like a star at the top, which right now for this particular character looks very crown-like. And the one on the left is taking more inspiration from like black holes and essentially negative energy as well. You can also do like matter, dark matter, antimatter sort of concept as well. Yeah, black hole versus a star, emitter of light, absorber of light, the whole contrasting thing, kind of very yin and yang. So the designs look very similar, yet they're opposing. So they're meant to kind of be coupled up if you so choose to get, you know, both of them. If you weren't here earlier in the stream, you can kind of see a lot of the other designs. Let me see if I can pop it open in Photoshop real quick. Looking like asteroid rock formation. Yeah. Yeah, you'll notice the left one is very rigid, or at least more rigid. Probably not as much as my other designs, but the idea is the light ones, the sun ones, to have softer forms, aside from the spikes of the star, of course. And for the left one to have more rigid shapes, more angular. All right, so let me hop on over to Photoshop really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So these are some of the designs that I was voting on earlier to make through. Bringle is pretty rocky. You can see with this first one, it's a little bit more obvious, the whole star black hole thing. This being kind of similar to how black holes kind of warp light, but using that more into like a 3D shape along the sides of it. Yeah, they're meant. I want them to be kind of cute, adorable. You want to have around you, and that's mainly for me to kind of break out of the usual as well, because a lot of my artwork tends to be maybe too serious or too I don't know, just like a little too adult, and not like in a bad way. But I want to have more playful stuff, more fun, cute designs as well. I want to expand the possibilities a little bit more, because at the end of the day, life is already serious enough as it is. There's plenty of stuff to get upset about. I want to have plenty for you to also have joyful, have things to be more happy with. So there'll be a mixture of the two, but all still within the same kind of themes of my art. So here's another one. It didn't get as many votes. I still really like it. Both of these didn't get as many votes, but they're still cool. I still plan on modeling these out once I get to them. They're full of whimsy and joy. Oh, that's great. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. This little guy, these two that you've already got to meet. Schmingle, I think we're kind of determining for this one, and Bringle for this one on the left. I may not be using those names for marketing. We'll see, because, but at least for us, within those that know the in crowd, those are the names we got going on. We got these two that are very tanky. I really like this design. It got a little bit of love, not as much as I was hoping, but got a lot there. Yeah, those that know, those who know. If you show up to the booth and you're like, oh, I want one of those Bringles, everyone else will be confused, but we'll know what we're talking about. Looks like Metagross. Oh, am I missing something? I'm not familiar. Let me see. Oh, Pokemon. All right, hold on. Hey, yeah. Actually, you're right. He does look very similar. Metagross is way more aggressive looking, that's for sure. I'm glad mine has a bit more of an adorable twist. Yeah, I've seen Metagross before. I just don't know him by name. I'm OG. I know the original 151 and maybe a little bit past that. I haven't gotten deep as much anymore. I'd like to, though. Next up, I got these two. What's my favorite Pokemon then? That's tricky. If we're talking starters with the originals, I like going for Squirtle. To me, Blastoise is a pretty epic evolution to reach. Mewtwo was always cool. I don't think anyone had any issues with Mewtwo. Alakazam is pretty awesome. I was big into like psychic Pokemon. Squirrel Nation all day. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Rowlet, nice. Yeah, that's cool. Hitmontop is peak, agreed. Hitmonlee was like a good supporter. Rowlet. Like Rowlet? Who's Rowlet? Ah, I see. Yeah, Rowlet, yeah. I was like, Rowley. Rowley is fire. Yeah, I see. An owl that can beat you up. I don't want to get beat up by an owl. Plus, they're supposed to be wiser than that. Pacifist first, I assume. Scyther was cool. I was a big Eevee fan too. Just the possibility of having so many routes to go like Vaporeon, Flareon, etc. I thought that was a really cool concept. Like there should be more Pokemon like that. Um, Rowley from Diary Rimpkin. Yeah, yeah, I really like the Eevee evolutions. You got options. Oh yeah, Espeon. Yeah, I'm familiar with Espeon. Question is, would you want Pokemon to happen in real life? Have a letterbox? What do you mean by that? Because when I think letterbox, I think cropping for film. Are you saying for shipments? Letterbox the app? No. What's that about? Oh, movie reviewing it. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't know that. I usually stick to my IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, the usuals. But even then, I try not to check out too many reviews prior to watching a film, because I don't want it kind of distorting my view of what the film could be. Because in the past, I've heard a lot of trash talk over films, and when I watch it, it's not that bad. Or films that I really did not enjoy that for some reason critics love. So I try not to seek critiques prior to. However, that being said, whenever I watch a film that I enjoyed, I'll go deep into the analysis videos, other people's opinions, the way they try to figure out Easter eggs. I find that to be very fun. Kind of reverse engineering directors and what their choices are. I think that's always a lot of fun. So letterbox. Well, I have it now. Track film. Okay, you can keep track of films you've watched. That's cool. You can kind of keep it on archive, and we can rate it ourselves. Rate each film as you watch it. Build up a diary of your own views. Oh, I see. Oh, that's really cool. Ways to rank movies. Get to post it for your followers to see. That's a good idea. I like that. Garza is screaming. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Glad you for joining and adding to the solar power of this space right now. I'm curious, who else in here has a letterbox? This is a cool idea. So you get to rank your own films and essentially star it up. Tell how you feel about it. So one thing I have not been able to figure out is what is my top tier movie list. And I feel like an app like this will help me figure that out. You have your top tier list, your top 10 already? Ooh, it's a lot of pressure. Like you will stand by your number one. Oh, it's top 4? Does it cap at 4? So letterbox. All right, create an account. Accept the privacy policy. Are they gonna try to take my soul or something? Ooh. What should my username be? Has to be film related. But Parasite for sure is gonna be in my top. It is so well done. I've noticed I tend to lean towards a lot of international films. Maybe the language barrier kind of helps get immersed in the story. Not to say that, there aren't good English films. There are definitely a lot. But a lot of people sleep on international films. The world has a lot to offer. All right, Letterbox. Hold on one sec, everybody. You got me excited over this app right now, so I'm kind of making my account. Let's see. They just have my personal favorites. So I don't mind rating a bunch of stuff, even like bad films, I guess. Because we all know there are some bad films that are good because they're bad. So I don't mind having some of those mixed in. What's your favorite bad film? Oh, it's tricky. Again, I don't have good memory, so I feel like this is something I'm gonna have to research on my own part. The Room is a classic. Everyone laughs at that one. Let's see. I feel like I have to dig deep into like some 90s films. What's that? A Neil Breen movie? Yeah. Well, he's notorious for making bad films. Like his VFX are so bad that they're somehow S tier. He's the guy that does like those floating PNGs or like those GIFs, the bad clip art type of thing. He deserves plenty of appreciation for how dedicated he is to his craft. How he doesn't give up no matter how many haters trash talk him. On that alone, he deserves respect. Have you heard of Compound Into the Fist? Of course. Yeah, that's definitely a classic film for me. I remember quoting that. I don't remember too many of the words now. I remember the annoying girl always saying, "Wee, wee, wee." Like she has no other way of communicating. Every single punch I would like blow a hole through someone's body, but the practical effects just didn't look good at all. He's always makes himself like the god savior of the world in his movies. I think that's how he can boost himself up. And yeah, he's like Dwayne the Rock Johnson. It's in his contract. No matter what, he has to win. He cannot lose. And I could respect that. Oh, my current account didn't work. Sorry, I'm still stuck on trying to get this username. Apparently, all the good ones are taken. Tempted to start just using Bringle or Schmingle. John Cena is a surprisingly amazing actor. I agree. What is it? Peacemaker does a great job there. The Suicide Squad did awesome there. It's hard to see him in most films, but when he does pop up, he is very talented. No, The Rock plays the same character in every single film. He's very much typecasted. He knows what he does and he does it well. He doesn't have a lot of range, but at least you know what to expect. He's like good fast food. Power to him. He's built up a great career for himself. But when you think of The Rock, you don't think, that's cinema. He's not going to make you tear up, give you all sorts of feels. He's just going to give you a cool, wild ride to watch and have a good time. Which, nothing wrong with that if that's what you're in the mood for. Suicide Squad and Peacemaker are amazing. I have an unhealthy obsession for them. I'm just glad the Suicide Squad happened. The fact that they were able to undo the garbage Suicide Squad film from before and somehow act like it never happened, they pulled it off somehow. For the most part. All right, I officially have my account. Jared Leto. All right, I'll be one of the few people that will say Jared Leto, I don't think was as bad as people said. Like, he had some terrible moments in that film. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like if they had given him more character moments, his version of the Joker may have grown on us. Because it was an interesting approach. Just what they allowed into the film was bad. But some of the stuff that was on the cutting room floor actually wasn't. Like, there is a lot of potential there. They just had poor execution. But I kind of like the idea of a gangsta Joker. The tattoos they chose, though, were terrible. Bad art direction. But there is potential there. There is potential. Jared Leto was something. Yes, he was. He was. Again, the execution, not there. Idea wasn't bad in my opinion. But at least he wasn't the worst part of the film. Or was he? I don't know. Maybe he was. The one reviewer who just dogged on Jared Leto in like every major movie he is. Yeah, and it hurts because I'm a fan of Jared Leto, or at least older, or younger, I should say, Jared Leto. Requiem for a Dream is one of my favorite films, and it's worth a watch if you don't mind getting very depressed. It is such a dark film, but he does an amazing job there. There's a Mr. Nobody is also a pretty good film that he's in. Conceptually awesome. It's Morbius time though. Bad decision. He was trying to get that superhero money, and Morbius just is bad. I've yet to watch the film in its regular edition. I've only seen the bootleg, the filmed version in theater off of like a handy cam. Viola Davis and Margot Robbie were perfectly casted, so I'm glad they were brought back for the reboot. Agreed. Yeah, they were smart enough to keep them involved. Margot Robbie, easily the best Harley Quinn. At least, live action. There have been awesome voice actors. Can't believe this is a real line, dude. It's Morbin time. Did he actually say that in the film? I thought that was just a joke for one of the promos. I don't remember him saying that in the film. So stupid. Absolute cinema. Absolute. Can't get better than Morbin time. Would you all agree that the Minecraft movie is a good, bad film? Ah, I see. Flint and Steel. Will Smith Will Smith's Deadshot says, "What are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad?" Yeah, that was too on the nose. And Will Smith was terrible casting for Deadshot. First off, to have his mask off pretty much the entire film, he wasn't Deadshot. He was just Will Smith with a gun. That was terrible casting. And I'm not hating on him. Even after the Chris Rock slap, he's done amazing job like with acting in all sorts of films. He definitely deserves his flowers for a lot of the work he's done. But Suicide Squad, it wasn't for him. He should not have been in there. Crazy thing about the Morbin Time meme, movie was doing horribly, it flopped, and the meme got big. Producers thought it would make money again because of the meme, and they re-released it. Yeah, I remember the re-release. Years it ended up flopping again. That double flop, that essentially just happened right now with the Snow White film. It's like they don't understand the irony, or they're hoping that people are willing to watch something just because it's terrible, which, it does happen. We've essentially been talking about that. But there are some things that are just not redeemable. That being said, I don't think the Snow White film was that terrible. It wasn't great, but I don't think it was deserving of as much terrible criticism. Did that with the Halo series, and it goes against Master Chief's character. I have yet to see the Halo series. I'm a big fan of Halo. I've enjoyed pretty much all the games, but I don't know if I can see myself getting into or ruining that legacy by watching that show if it's that bad. If it's worth a watch, maybe I'll check it out. But if you're saying that it does a disservice, maybe I'm better off never seeing it. What's the worst Disney remake? All of them minus Cinderella. Yeah, Cinderella's not that bad. And maybe the first Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent are up for it. Okay. Now, I want a prerequisite by saying I'm not a huge Disney fanatic. I haven't seen, or at least a lot of Disney stuff that I've seen is more at later stages. My wife has really been getting me back into it all. I was not a fan of Mulan, and I know some people put that as a higher mark when it comes to the remakes. I don't like that they changed a lot of the purpose of the character arc. Making someone super strong and OP from the get-go and not giving them much room for growth, I think is just bad writing decision. Pinocchio to me was so sad of a disaster to change the ending to where he never becomes a real boy. Spoiler alert. Beauty and the Beast was not that bad. However, the auto-tune, at least for me, was very noticeable and would definitely get annoying from time to time. Lilo and Stitch, I've yet to see it, but I hear that they also changed the main theme around it. Like Ohana means family. I think they got rid of that particular saying from the film and changed the ending. It got kind of spoiled on me, but I haven't seen it yet. Second season one better. Never watch a live action remakes. You don't have to. Again, unless you're interested, you're bored one day, you have some free time, or you just want to keep up to date. You don't have to watch it. I'm interested in what these different companies decide on, like their approach and how they're trying to reinterpret stories for the modern era. I find that to be more interesting. You know, how they're trying to keep things relevant and how they either succeed or fail while doing that. Yeah, the live action Mulan got rid of the central themes. I agree. And even removing the fact that they got rid of Mushu, you know, like the dragon. All right, I understand it. You want to make it more grounded in real life. Sure, I can live without that character. But if Mulan herself, again, the character growth was just off. The Beast, the new song is so bad. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. Gotta stick to the originals, the real bangers. Aladdin 2, Will Smith came back again. Not a bad cast, but it's impossible to replace Robin Williams. He is such a great comedian. No one else can ever take that role of Genie from him. Aside from that one voice actor that kind of did it for some of the animated series, Robin Williams is just too good of that. He's essentially the Genie. No one else could ever replace him. Will Smith, I think, was a good attempt. I like his style and approach, but it's hard to watch without thinking of the original. He set the bar too high. Hated how they made Mulan a lot less realistic of a character. Ironic. She's not engaging anymore. Nah, she was a boring character. And actually, Mushu broke my heart. Such a missed opportunity. Having a fun, sidekick character. Doing drag in the new movie. Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of that whole drag thing. I mean, I guess with a lot of political stuff going on, sure, but I think Mulan, a part of it was kind of like the gender bending aspect of it, and how it literally didn't matter when it came to defending your country. It was actually very patriotic in that sense. But yeah, I guess they thought it was too touchy of a thing to incorporate. I don't know, missed opportunity. Problem with these remakes is they keep too much of it the same. They can't justify making a new movie. But whenever they do change it, it just sucks so bad. The only solution is just to not make them and make new stuff. At the end of the day, I would rather they, of course, attempt new stuff. But anyone that knows business, money, they're going to play it safe. When they have billions of dollars on the line, they'd much rather do a reboot than, try out some new IP. And that's sad. However, it's allowing a lot of more independent, production companies, directors, and actors the more riskier ones to stand out. And this is how like A24 is getting a lot of respect. They're willing to take those risks. Disney still playing it way too safe. Sony, they're doing a good job of experimenting, hence like the Spider-Verse series and such. Pixar, again, Disney, they kind of lost a lot of their flair. They're playing it safe. The fact there's a Toy Story 5 on the way, to me, is just, it feels kind of blasphemous. But they love money. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just overly simplify it that it's just money, money, money. To be fair, if we were to think of it from their perspective, if they don't get enough money, We're looking at their theme parks shutting down, their productions getting lower, fewer shows on their streaming network. They're already panicking by getting all sorts of other videos licensed. I mean, you go to Disney, it doesn't even feel like Disney anymore because they have stuff from Hulu popping up, etc. I think their fight to stay relevant is forcing them to make safe decisions, but in doing so, they're making very boring and dumb ones. So they're kind of like too big right now of a company, and that's stifling their innovation. Talking about the new Stitch movie, but did they get rid of the soldiers doing Dragon Mulan? Yeah, they did. Forgot because I haven't seen the movie since it came out. A24 is amazing. Based. The jump from the Emoji movie to Spider-Verse for Sony Animation was so odd. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. The fact they were able to even pull that off. The Emoji movie, potentially one of the worst films ever made. If you've never seen it, don't bother. You'll never get that hour and a half back. I feel like if it's hurting their brand so much. Yeah, it is. It's a sad day. Sad times for Disney. I mean, not all hope is lost. They have some hits with Star Wars stuff. At least Andor. I'm a fan of Andor. I think they're doing a great job with that. They're attempting a new trilogy that I hear is going to continue with Rey's storyline. I'm a bit worried there. Acolyte. I think I saw a couple episodes of Acolyte. I haven't finished it. I kind of got a little distracted. If it's worthwhile, I'll revisit it. I don't know what stopped me. Probably I got busy with work. Have you heard about the new animated K-pop movie on Netflix? Yes, I saw the trailer. It looked funny. I think that's definitely something I'd watch if I have some free time. I know this is kind of lame to say, but I have a soft spot for some K-pop music. I know it's weird, but there's some K-pop songs that are just straight bangers. They have like cool shifts to it, great beat production. Overly commercial, that's for sure. But sometimes because they're trying to be too commercial, they get some of the best producers. That being said, I don't know what the film is like. I don't know if any songs in there are any good. Yeah, Disney, I think, if having a brand crisis, for sure, they're struggling. Trying to appeal to literally everyone, while now their competitors are becoming a lot more popular. True, based. I think once they acquired Deadpool, that also kind of forced their hand as far as brand identity. Because having Deadpool on your roster means now you have an official rated R character. And then, of course, Logan being added in there, etc. Having that means they can't have the same pool of all happy, child-friendly. It's kind of like Nintendo if they were to all of a sudden release, Last of Us. It feels out of place. And yet, if you see all the money backing that particular franchise, you don't want to lose it. So they're trying to figure out how can they balance it all out. And you don't really associate, Deadpool shooting up a bunch of people with Mickey Mouse off to the side, kind of doing a little dance. I want to see the K-pop movie. Girls are actually allowed to be expressive, which is a problem I have in a lot of cartoons. Yeah. They never allow the girls to be as fun, wacky as the boys. Yeah, I feel like that's been changing a little bit more over time. But that's good. In animation, there has been a bit of a back and forth as far as expressiveness with the characters. Like for quite a while, we've been stuck in that not DreamWorks, that Pixar animation vibe of kind of like the facial expressions, certain motions being very popular. We've been getting some changes though. And in general, we just need more styles, more approaches to things. K-pop 2018, 2022. Nintendo added Elden Ring. Yeah, that's true. And Hitman to Switch too. Yeah, that feels out of place. But welcome. I'm an Elden Ring fan. I haven't Hitman. I used to play years ago. I want to get the newer one. Spider-Verse for sure change the game. Even when it first came out, everyone knew that so many production companies were going to be copying it afterwards. Understandably so. Switch 2 got from soft exclusive. Okay. I think people are more inclined to call them cringe or annoying. I mean, I hope we don't have a lot of annoying characters now. I'm trying to think of which are some good ones that have come out recently. If we're talking animated female characters that's well done, just look at Arcane. And they hit it out of the park. They did an amazing job there. There's almost a Batman Beyond movie. Oh, that would have been amazing. I loved that show. To me, Batman in the future with all the tech stuff, especially, I feel like it'd be even more relevant now with all these advancements that have been happening. I would be totally down for a Batman Beyond film. There needs to be a petition or something to fight for it. I'll sign up for it. Notice they never get to have fun with their designs. Yeah. Again, a lot of people have played it safe. Spider-Verse, it did a great job of branching out. It's just... yeah, some people are not up for taking the risks. Especially, again, companies with a lot of money on the line. It's a little bit harder for them to do so. Like, one way to kind of put yourself in their shoes, imagine you got all of your life savings. You put your home up. You put all that stuff at risk for one release of a project you do. Are you more likely to play it safe or riskier? Not saying you should do either, but it at least helps you understand the stakes. That being said, if they mess up, call them out on it. Yes, Arcane was great. Phenomenal, agreed. And they pushed the art style even further. Like, Spider-Verse came in, shook up the whole world. Arcane came in and started perfecting their own approach. Power to them. That group, that studio, phenomenal job. I can't say I have a favorite Arcane character yet. So, to be decided. I'll hold off on that for now. I'm happy that indie animation has taken off. Agreed. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't like any of the glitch production shows. Glitch production shows? I'm happy creators are allowed to put out their visions easier. What's a glitch production show? Not sure I'm familiar with that term. Oh, indie animation studio? Let me see what I'm familiar with. I don't think I've seen their stuff. Yeah, I've never played League of Legends, so I can't really speak on the game. Yeah, I mentioned it before. That's one of those games that I want to avoid because I know it'll consume people's lives. Gateway drug. If you want to look at good experimental animations, I'm sure some of you have heard of it already, but oh, Juan Lanzas, thanks for the subscription. Sorry, I caught that late. Appreciate that. Hope you're still with us. But what was I gonna say? What is it? Love, Death, Robots. If you haven't checked it out, Love, Death, and Robots, a lot of really good experimental short films, diving into all sorts of different themes, styles. Some are spectacular, like phenomenally done. Others are, pretty cool. But there's enough variety in there for everybody. Wow, I've progressed on this so slowly. I got heavily distracted. You guys got a lot of good questions. That being said, wait, have you seen Flow? No, not yet. I've had it on my watch list. Even right now, before I opened up Blender, they have Flow as like the main advertisement for the app, since it was all done in Blender. So I already admire the art style, but I don't know how good it is officially yet. That being said, it is on my list, or has been on my list for some time now. I need to just bite the bullet and watch it. That one, and there's that other film with the robot, I think Wild something. Is it Wild Robot? Yeah, the Wild Robot. That's another one I have pending that I gotta check out. Yeah, is it true that Flow is all silent? Like there's no dialogue, I guess, since you're just following animals? Like conceptually, I think that's awesome. That's true expressiveness. And one of the benefits of animation. Yeah, the Wild Robot. Nimona is great. That's a really funny one. Oh, another good expressive female lead. I think they did a great job with her animations. And to be able to wild shape allowed for so many creative, problem solving moments. And the fact that she was just so evil. Perfect anti hero sort of setup. Wow, yeah, D&D reference. You know they took inspiration from D&D. Come on. Nemona's just like a one step away from a druid. Same as Beast Boy. Isn't Beast Boy a druid? It's the same concept, right? Or is that a hot take? I guess if they're not as nature themed. He'd be a druid with low wisdom for sure. Yeah, agreed. All right, how's this going? All right, gotta add some asymmetry now. All right, and I'm just about. Schmingle looks awesome. Yeah, I'm liking the way Schmingle looks. He's not there yet, but he's getting close. Every supporting character is going to be based off of one classic universal monster. Little guys you're designing, they have the colors of the light dark Skylanders. Light dark Skylanders. Hold up, let me look that up. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm down. This can't be Schmingle. But then you flipped it and it was like, oh, crap, it's Schmingle. It is Schmingle. that little tiny twist made a big difference. So I got to make some additional changes. I got to make his belly stand out more, as far as like creasing it out, give more of like a leg definition where the thighs go. I'm going to pop this into ZBrush probably during tomorrow's stream, and I'll start to refine it further. But like for a start, the slanted eye should be the... Oh, yeah. In the drawing, it's lower. Yeah, it feels more balanced. And I kind of like the droopy look. He's smirking ever so slightly. He's happy to see you guys. All right, so even though it's not finished, just to feel a little bit closer to what this could be, let me just do a quick lighting setup. All right, so here we got our little buddy. Still not quite there. Again, still needs to be tweaked up a bit more, but you know, we got something going on. We got something going on. Now give him shades and Air Jordans, and just pose him like he's about to dunk on us. All right, but I like it for, you know, not spending too much time on it. It's not perfect, but he's there. Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming again at around 8 p.m. I'm going to try to keep it consistent. It might be the next LeBron. With these limbs, these short arms? Nah, I don't think so. He'd be defying physics to make that happen. But I'm going to try to stream regularly. I'll be streaming again tomorrow, 8 p.m. and potentially as well on, let me see. No, Thursday as well. Maybe on Friday. Still thinking about it. But I have a lot to do. Again, my goal is to prepare for SuperCon. Again, I'm going to have my own booth at the Artist Alley there. I'll be able to share a space with a lot of legends and a lot of other up-and-comers. So I'm super excited for that. I just want to prep my own stuff. And one of the goals is getting these figurines hopefully finished, 3D printed, airbrushed, trying to get all this done before SuperCon so I can have them available to go alongside with, you know, some of my prints and my stickers and all that other cool stuff. So if you go to SuperCon, awesome. You'll be able to see me there. If not, it's cool. Again, I'll be streaming. You could join in, give your, you know, your input, your advice, help guide me as I do all this stuff because I have a lot of work left to do, a lot of goals. And since I don't have a lot of time to post on social media as far as doing videos, since I got a lot of work to do, I'd rather just do it and let you guys just hop in, chill with me, be a part of the process, just kind of hang out. So I appreciate you all joining me tonight. Thank you guys for the talks. I'm definitely going to be surfing through Letterboxd and probably start ranking some films, probably even tonight. I know some of you suggested that I hop on Undertale immediately. It's in my cart, so that's probably going to be happening too. I just can't dedicate the time that I want just yet. Many things, but thanks again, everybody. I'm going to have to say goodbyes. Peace out. Here, a little bit closer. Yes, Undertale. We got other people supporting it. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's bedtime. Gotta sleep. We got things to do tomorrow. So thank you all again. Have a great night. Sleep well. Be well. Stay creative. All right.